escalation amid the ongoing war between Iran and the US and Israel, one that could prove apocalyptic for West Asia, issuing a stark warning to the US and Israel. Iran's foreign minister, Syed Abbas Araghchi, drew comparisons to the attack near the Bushehr nuclear power plant, with global fears around the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. He questioned why the world remains silent now, but reacted strongly in the case of Ukraine, which is embroiled in a years-long war with Russia, warning that radioactive fallout will end life in neighboring Gulf nations, not Tehran.
X, Araghchi wrote, quote, "Remember the Western outrage about hostilities near Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Israel, U.S. have bombed our Bushehr plant 4 times now. Radioactive fallout will end life in GCC capitals, not Tehran. Attacks on our petrochemicals also convey real objectives," end quote. The strong statement came as Tehran earlier in the day said that a projectile had hit near the Bushehr nuclear power plant, marking the 4th attack on the facility in recent weeks. According to Iran, one of the site's physical protection staff members was killed by a projectile fragment, and a building on site was affected by shock waves and fragments. Despite the impact, Iranian authorities said the main reactor remains intact and operations were continuing. However, the implications go far beyond physical damage. The International Atomic Energy Agency has said it has been informed of the incident by Iran, and so far no increase in radiation levels have been detected. However, the agency's chief, Rafael Grossi, expressed deep concern, warning that even auxiliary buildings can house critical safety systems. Iranian media has blamed the attack on the United States and Israel, though neither has officially confirmed involvement. The latest strike also targeted infrastructure linked to Iran's energy sector, signaling what Iran calls a broader strategy beyond military objectives.
This is a chilling moment in an already volatile war. A projectile has struck dangerously close to a nuclear facility in Iran, and the implications could have been catastrophic. New satellite images from Airbus confirmed that a projectile landed just 350 meters from the Bushehr nuclear power plant reactor. An impact crater is clearly visible at the site. According to a report by the Institute for Science and International Security, the strike occurred on Tuesday evening. Iran had earlier informed the International Atomic Energy Agency about the incident. Tehran says the projectile destroyed a structure located roughly 350 meters from the reactor, but crucially, there was no damage to the reactor itself, and no injuries have been reported. Still, the proximity of the strike has raised serious alarm. Satellite imagery from a week before the incident shows an unidentified object at the same location, roughly 5 meters in length, sitting in an open field. The nature of that object remains unclear. Even more concerning is the question of who fired the projectile. The analysis suggests the debris pattern points to an incoming strike from the north, not from the Gulf. This opens multiple possibilities. It could have been an accidental launch by Iran itself, or a strike linked to the United States or Israel. At this stage, responsibility remains unclear, but the warning signs are unmistakable. Any strike near a nuclear facility carries enormous risks, and global watchdogs are now raising the alarm. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi has issued a stark warning. He says any attack at or near nuclear power plants violates critical safety principles and should never take place under any circumstances. The Bushehr plant is a key part of Iran's nuclear infrastructure. A direct hit could have triggered a major nuclear emergency. For now, disaster has been avoided, but only narrowly.
A flash of destruction, a near miss that could have changed everything.
High-resolution imagery now reveals the chilling aftermath of a projectile striking dangerously close to Iran's Bushehr nuclear power reactor. The images, reportedly taken on March 18th, show the devastating impact just 350 meters from the facility's heart. Experts say the debris points north, far from the Persian Gulf, raising urgent questions about the origin of the weapon. David Albright, founder of the Institute for Science and International Security, added Iran to a growing list of potential actors alongside Israel and the United States, though he cautioned an Iranian strike may have been inadvertent. Meanwhile, calls grow louder from global authorities, including IAEA chief Rafael Grossi, urging restraint, open communication with Russia, and careful avoidance of nuclear targets. The world watches and waits as tensions teeter on the edge of escalation. The Bushehr nuclear power plant, built by Russia's Rosatom, has been operational since 2011. It is a 1,000 megawatt Russian-designed pressurized water reactor with expansion projects already underway. Following the March 18th incident, Russia called for a safety zone to prevent catastrophe, citing significant nuclear materials on site. Earlier, on March 18th, the CEO of Rosatom, a Russian state nuclear energy corporation, slammed what he called the first instance of a direct shelling of the station's territory, warning that it set a dangerous precedent.
This marks the first instance of direct shelling of the station's territory. The projectile exploded, causing damage to one of the buildings. It has no relation to the nuclear cycle. It's part of the meteorological complex, but a dangerous precedent has been set. In fact, probably the first, well, certainly the first in this conflict, and probably the first direct shelling of a nuclear power plant's territory in literally at a distance of about 150 to 200 meters from of the reactor hull of an active nuclear reactor that is currently operating at full power. This is unacceptable. And of course, we appeal to all sides, to all parties involved in the conflict, to prevent anything like this from happening again in the future. Well, first, to ensure the equipment is supervised, because the second unit is in such an active construction phase, and much has been done on the third, so the equipment already on site must be supervised.
The International Atomic Energy Agency on March 18th said it had been informed by Iranian authorities about the incident at the country's only operational nuclear facility. The Vienna-based agency stated on social media that there was no damage to the plant or injuries to staff reported. Earlier, on March 18th, the Russian Foreign Ministry blamed the US and Israel for the incident.
We unequivocally condemn the irresponsible try by utterly unacceptable missile attack carried out against the inner perimeter of the Bushehr nuclear power station, mere meters from an operational power unit. We have repeatedly warned Israel and the United States of America, who continue their aggressive military campaign against the Islamic Republic, about the categorical unacceptability of creating threats to the life and health of numerous Russian citizens remaining on site to constitute the personnel of the nuclear power plant.
Despite multiple claims and conflicting accounts from Tehran and Moscow, neither Iran nor Russia has released any images of the damage, and crucially, both have stopped short of reporting any release of nuclear material from the incident near the Bushehr facility, underscoring the uncertainty and the stakes at play.
Kosmos Direkt, Deutschlands
Have the U.S. strikes on Iran's military infrastructure totally failed? A new report has claimed that Iran is quickly repairing missile bunkers that were reportedly destroyed by the U.S. and Israeli strikes. According to a New York Times report, Iranian operatives have been digging out underground missile bunkers and silos struck by American and Israeli bombs, returning to operation hours after an attack. The report claimed Iran has also retained a significant amount of its missiles and mobile launchers. The shocking report comes as the Pentagon and White House this week claimed to have made substantial progress against Iran. At a briefing this week, the Pentagon claimed it struck 11,000 targets in Iran in the past 5 weeks.
And over the past 30 days, we've struck more than 11,000 targets. Given the increase in air superiority, we've successfully started to conduct the first overland B-52 missions, which allow us, as we've said before, to continue to get on top of the enemy.
However, American intelligence agencies have cast doubt on how close the U.S. military is to destroying Iran's missile capability, a key goal in the war. The U.S. intelligence agencies have not estimated the number of remaining launchers with high confidence. Iran retains the ability to use its remaining arsenal of ballistic missiles and missile launchers to attack Israel and other countries in the region.
It's not going to be a prolonged conflict. The objectives I've outlined to you, again, I repeat them, because I see these reports as like the U.S. is not clear on what objectives are. We've been as clear as you can possibly be from the very first night of what the objectives of this mission are. We're going to destroy their factories that make missiles and rockets and drones. We're going to destroy their Navy. We're going to destroy their Air Force. And we are going to significantly destroy their missile launchers so they can never hide behind these things to get a nuclear weapon. We are achieving all those objectives. We are ahead of schedule on most of them. And we can achieve them without any ground troops, without any. Now, in terms of why there's deployments, number one, the president has to be prepared for multiple contingencies, which I'm not going to discuss in the media. And again, I refer you to the Department of War, who will probably tell you the exact same thing. But we can achieve all of our objectives without ground troops, but we are always going to be prepared to give the president maximum optionality and maximum opportunity to adjust to contingencies should they emerge.
According to the NYT report, American intelligence agencies also believe that Iran is keeping more of its launchers in bunkers and caves to protect them from attack. A CNN report has claimed that Iran has utilized just 50% of its missiles against the American and Israeli forces. Has Iran underutilized its ballistic missile arsenal against the United States and Israel? The U.S. intelligence has dropped a bombshell on Tehran's strike capabilities in the first month of the war. According to a CNN report, roughly 50% of Iran's missile launchers are still intact, and thousands of one-way attack drones remain in Iran's arsenal, despite the daily U.S. and Israeli strikes against military targets over the past 5 weeks. A U.S. intelligence official told CNN that the Iranian military is still very capable to wreak absolute havoc across the entire region. Thousands of Iranian drones still exist, the intelligence official said.
As we have stated, we declare to the American Zionist enemies that your information about our military capabilities, power, and equipment is incomplete. You know nothing of our vast and strategic capabilities. Do not hope that you have destroyed our strategic missile production sites, long-range offensive drones, modern air defense and electronic warfare systems, or special equipment. With such a belief, you will only deepen the quagmire in which you have trapped yourselves. The centers you mistakenly believe you have targeted are utterly insignificant. Our strategic military production is carried out in locations of which you possess absolutely no information, and you will never, ever be able to reach them. We're sparing you the effort of counting our missiles, drones, and strategic equipment, because you will certainly err and achieve absolutely nothing. You must pay the full price for the aggression that you yourselves initiated to our honorable, cherished, and Muslim nation.
The intel assessment showed a large percentage of Iran's coastal defense cruise missiles were intact, consistent with Washington, D.C. not focusing its air campaign on coastal military assets, though they have been hitting ships. The intelligence offers a more nuanced picture of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as compared to the sweeping assessments of military win offered publicly by Donald Trump.
We totally obliterated those nuclear sites. The regime then sought to rebuild their nuclear program at a totally different location, making clear they had no intention of abandoning their pursuit of nuclear weapons. They were also rapidly building a vast stockpile of conventional ballistic missiles and would soon have had missiles that could reach the American homeland, Europe, and virtually any other place on Earth. Iran's strategy was so obvious. They wanted to produce as many missiles as possible, and they did, with the longest range possible, and they had some weapons that nobody believed they had. We just learned that out. We took them out, we took them all out, so that no one would really dare stop them. And their race for a nuclear bomb, a nuclear weapon like nobody's ever seen before. They were right at the doorstep. For years, everyone has said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, but in the end, those are just words if you're not willing to take action when the time comes. As I stated in my announcement of Operation Epic Fury, our objectives are very simple and clear. We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. That means eliminating Iran's Navy, which is now absolutely destroyed, hurting their Air Force and their missile program at levels never seen before, and annihilating their defense industrial base. We've done all of it. Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone. Their missiles are just about used up or beaten. Taken together, these actions will cripple Iran military, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb. Our armed forces have been extraordinary. There's never been anything like it militarily. Everyone is talking about it, and tonight I'm pleased to say that these core strategic objectives are nearing completion. As we celebrate this progress, we think especially of the 13 American warriors who have laid down their lives in this fight to prevent our children from ever having to face a nuclear Iran.
The U.S. Central Command, in an ex-post, had claimed that it struck more than 12,300 targets, damaged more than 155 Iranian vessels. U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, during a press briefing, had claimed that ballistic missile attacks against American forces.
Kann mir bitte jemand erklären,
Fresh flashpoint is emerging in the widening Middle East conflict. Iran's most powerful military wing issues a sharp denial and a direct accusation against Israel. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, has rejected any involvement in a reported attack on the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh. Interestingly, it has instead pointed the finger squarely at U.S. most trusted ally, Israel. This was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. In an official statement, the IRGC said the incident was absolutely unrelated to Iran's armed forces. They claimed that given Israel's regional strategy, the attack was certainly carried out by Israel. The statement goes further, warning countries across West Asia to remain vigilant against what it describes as an American-Israeli effort to destabilize the region. Iran has already defined its list of military targets and issued prior warnings to neighboring and Muslim countries. Iran has been calling these actions as provocative and destabilizing acts. These accusations come amid a rapidly escalating conflict that erupted after the assassination of Ali Khamenei. Khamenei was killed along with several senior commanders and civilians on February 28th. Since then, Iran has accused the United States and Israel of launching a large-scale military campaign. In response, Iranian forces say they have carried out waves of retaliatory strikes targeting American and Israeli positions across the region. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is reportedly growing increasingly frustrated with the United States over President Donald Trump's handling of the war with Iran. According to analysts and officials cited by Financial Times, the kingdom now has an utter sense of disappointment with Washington, reflecting unease over what is being seen as erratic decision-making and unpredictable messaging from the White House. At the heart of Saudi concerns are Trump's public threats to target Iranian energy infrastructure, including power plants, a move Gulf officials fear could trigger large-scale retaliation across the region. Diplomats from multiple Arab states reportedly reached out urgently to U.S. officials after such remarks, warning that an escalation at that level would unleash missile attacks that regional defenses may not be able to fully absorb. Riyadh's discomfort has also been compounded by Trump's suggestion that Gulf countries could be expected to bear the financial cost of the war, despite having little control over its trajectory. Analysts say this has reinforced a perception within Saudi leadership that the U.S. is treating regional partners as both stakeholders and paymasters, without offering corresponding strategic clarity. The United States officials have been accused of hiding actual damage due to Iranian attack on American embassy in Saudi Arabia last month. According to a Wall Street Journal report, an Iranian drone attack on the American embassy in Riyadh caused more extensive damage than what was disclosed. An Iranian drone evaded the air defenses and slammed into the U.S. embassy compound. A minute later, a second drone flew into the hole made by the first one and also exploded. According to the Wall Street Journal report, the nighttime drone strikes penetrated a secure part of the embassy where several hundred people would have been working in the day and heavily damaged 3 floors. The Central Intelligence Agency's station was among the areas hit. More Iranian drones were intercepted that night a few hours later, and debris fell near a preschool. One of the drones was reportedly targeting the residence of the highest-ranking U.S. diplomat in Saudi. The embassy attack took place at 1:30 a.m. Had it occurred during working hours, the strike could have been a mass casualty incident, the officials told Wall Street Journal. Bernard Hudson, a former CIA counterterrorism chief with extensive experience in Persian Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia, said that Iran was able to produce an indigenously made weapon, fire it across hundreds of miles, and put it into the embassy of their top opponent. The former CIA official alleged there had been a complete blackout on the actual amount of damage done to these locations. Iran, late last month, hit a U.S. aircraft at the Prince Sultan Air Base, hitting a U.S. aircraft, including an E-3 AWACS radar plane and refueling tankers. About a dozen troops were wounded in the strike. 2 of them were in serious condition. U.S. and Israeli forces have carried out more than 20,000 airstrikes, killing Iran's top leaders, destroying much of its military infrastructure, and extensively damaging civilian infrastructure, including educational institutes, water plants, and bridges. But Iran has fiercely retaliated, hitting sensitive American assets along with the Gulf's energy infrastructure, airports, and ships. In a shocking development, a media report has alleged that the Pentagon under Donald Trump might have been hiding the actual data of U.S. troops wounded or killed in the Middle East conflict. Tensions in the Gulf are rising sharply, with fresh and unverified reports of another possible maritime incident in the Strait of Hormuz.
Iranian media outlets are now claiming that a ship has been targeted in the strategic waterway. According to reports carried by Tehran Times, an image circulating online appears to show a vessel engulfed in massive flames. However, the authenticity of this image has not been independently verified. As of now, no international maritime authority has confirmed the incident, and there has been no official response from global shipping agencies. The Strait of Hormuz remains one of the world's most critical energy corridors, handling nearly 1/5 of global oil trade. Any disruption here has immediate implications for global markets and energy security. Iran, meanwhile, has escalated its stance. Reports indicate that Tehran has effectively moved to shut down the strait in response to what it describes as ongoing U.S. and Israeli attacks that began on February 28th. While the full extent of the disruption remains unclear, the situation is being closely monitored by international observers. At the same time, there appears to be a controlled exception. Iran has reportedly authorized the passage of vessels carrying essential goods to its own ports through the Strait of Hormuz. According to a letter cited by Iran's Tasnim news agency, ships bound for Iranian ports, including those currently positioned in the Gulf of Oman, are required to coordinate closely with Iranian authorities. These vessels must comply with specific protocols in order to safely transit the strait. This dual approach, tightening control while allowing limited passage, underscores the complexity of the current situation. On one hand, it signals a show of force. On the other, it reflects an attempt to maintain critical supply lines within the region. For now, much remains uncertain. The reported ship attack is yet to be confirmed, but the stakes are undeniably high, and the Strait of Hormuz once again stands at the center of a rapidly unfolding geopolitical crisis.
Iran's kamikaze drones invade UAE. U.S. Army's radar den obliterated in massive Iranian attack. In a dramatic escalation, Iran on March 30 claimed it had launched drone strikes targeting U.S. military assets inside the United Arab Emirates, including radar stations and troop deployment sites. A report by Press TV cited the Iranian army confirming it struck U.S. assets designed to detect and track incoming missiles and aerial threats in an overnight barrage. If confirmed, this marks a significant expansion of the battlefield, bringing one of the Gulf's most critical security hubs directly into the conflict, analysts point out. The report came as Hatem al-Anbiya, which coordinates operations for the Iranian Armed Forces General Staff, announced that it will target the residences of American and Israeli commanders in the region.
In light of the malicious acts and terrorist operations carried out by the American Zionist enemies and their deliberate targeting of the residential homes of the Iranian people across various cities, the valiant armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran, in a decisive retaliatory action, targeted the residences of American and Zionist regime commanders and political officials in the region and the occupied territories. They will make it a target.
The warning came a day after Iran's elite Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed it struck a high-value U.S. surveillance aircraft, a Boeing E-3 Sentry, at a base in Saudi Arabia. Images circulating online appear to show damage near the aircraft's radar dome, one of its most sensitive and expensive components. Separately, Iranian forces also reportedly targeted a warehouse in Dubai, said to be storing advanced anti-drone systems. These incidents are just the latest in a series of what Tehran calls retaliatory strikes against the U.S. and its regional allies. And with each new strike, the stakes grow higher. A massive explosion, flames rising into the night sky, and the safest U.S. base under attack in the heart of Iraq. In an attack that sent shockwaves across Iraq, an aircraft was set ablaze in a U.S. military base near Baghdad International Airport, according to an Al Jazeera report. The aircraft, identified in the report as an Iraqi Special Forces plane, was blown up in a rocket attack on Victory Base in the Iraqi capital. Multiple rockets reportedly hit the base on March 30th, triggering a loud blast that was heard across the city. The Al Jazeera report claimed that the air defense system installed at the base was not able to intercept the incoming rockets, and it hit an A-32B Iraqi transport plane. An Iraqi armed organization subsequently claimed credit for the assault, according to an Iraqi news report, which didn't mention the name of the organization. This was the first time that the U.S. Victory Base was hit, the report claimed, adding that there were no American soldiers on the ground at the time of the attack, as the base had already been evacuated. The attack, however, holds significance, point out analysts, as the base was considered the safest and most secure area in Iraq at the height of the U.S. invasion of Iraq. Meanwhile, the Al Jazeera report said that the attack took place as U.S. airplanes hovered above Baghdad throughout the night of March 29th. The March 30th attack came amid rising tensions across the region amid the war between Iran, the United States, and Israel. In recent weeks, Iran-aligned groups have intensified strikes on U.S. bases and diplomatic sites, raising fears that Iraq could become a central battleground once again. Washington has already warned Baghdad, urging stronger action to prevent such attacks and protect foreign personnel. But that may be easier said than done, because Iraq now faces a growing challenge, containing armed groups within its borders while trying to avoid being pulled deeper into a wider regional war.
And in light of the unjustified attacks and the grave violations of Iraqi sovereignty, as well as the targeting of official security apparatus headquarters,